Well, hello everybody and welcome along to our first of two races of the weekend from Miami, Florida. The earlier inclement weather has cleared and we're left with a rather lovely day, actually. Wherever you're joining us in the world, live in sound and vision, good to have your company. My name's John Hindhaugh in the IMSA Global Broadcast Centre, and joining me is our voice of Porsche, and that, of course, is Peter Mackay. Hello, Peter. Excited? Ready for this one?
Raring to go, John. Yes, and big news as well with our previous provisional race brew pole sitter being sent to the back of the grid. We'll get into it in the moment. Big news.
Absolutely right. 27th position for Kelly Moss Racing, number 91. This is Riley Dickinson, championship leader, scooped up both of the races at the opening round at Sebring, Florida a few weeks ago, and unfortunately for him, in post qualifying tech, his 154.410 was scratched, and his time for tomorrow, although his fastest lap time in this race will then give him his grid position for tomorrow. His car was not within technical compliance. There was a part there that wasn't within what's called the homologation, which is effectively the mandated specification of all the cars. And it's double trouble for Kelly Moss, I'm afraid, because also the man who was at the head of the Masters as well has also lost his times. That was a ride height infraction for Todd Parriott in the Kelly Moss number 13 car. So he'll start in 28th and Riley Dickinson will start in 27th position. Bad news for the championship favourite. Great news for us, because we will have to keep our eyes very much on that number 91 car as it comes through the field, as I'm sure it will. So that leaves, from the front of the field, Jimmy Libre on pole position for ACI Motorsports, with Ryan Yardley for Top Racing sitting in beside him. On the second row, it's Yves Baltas, one of the pro drivers from ACI Motorsports in the 15, and Aaron Johnson in that dark red number 24 in fourth. Matthias Leitz for Nola Sport is in fifth position, on the third row of the grid, with Zach Vanier from JTX Racing alongside him. On row number 4, it's Tyler Maxson on the inside for Top Racing, and Michael Di Casada for Allegra Motorsport. The top 10 made up by Michael McCann for JTX Racing, and alongside him is Paul Bacchus. I'm quickly going to run down the other pole sitters as we're on the formation lap behind what is a very nice Porsche 911 Carrera safety car. It's Marco Cironi just outside the top dozen in 14th position for Pro-Am, and that leaves in the Masters category. If I scroll down, and that's interesting, we are missing the other Masters. Scott Blind, of course it is, in the lead position for the Masters category. 27 cars are on the grid. This is again a time certain race of 40 minutes, and the drivers have been warned about corner cutting on the inside apex, so effectively short-cutting the corners. You have to leave some part of your Yokohama tyres on the red and white curb. That is the word that's come from a couple of drivers that I've spoken to, as the lights are out on the safety car, which means that everyone will form up in the 2x2. Still smiles down from Victoria Thomas, one of the team principals and owners at Kelly Moss Racing, although they will be scratching their head. They are a very, very experienced team, and they'll want to make sure they don't make any more mistakes this weekend. So the car to watch then from the back of the grid, the number 91 white car with the green stripe and the handprint, as they get down towards the final corner, turn number 17 and 18. There's no more weaving allowed. Actually, you've got to keep a standard speed as well. So Jimmy Libre for ACI Motorsports in the number 2 car, the red, white and black machine, on the driver's right as they come onto the start-finish line, as Ryan Yardley alongside him in the TCS sponsored yellow and black car. It's up to the leader, but the start zone is just coming out to turn number 18. Roundabout now is where it starts, but it's up to the leader. You can see that he's trying to keep it as slow as possible as the front of the number 2 ACI car is porpoising up and down. He wants to make the run to the first corner as short as possible for all of his competitors. This is going to be a real bun fight down into turn 1. You're not allowed to brake before the line. What I'm not seeing is a green flag. There it is, the green flag just waving, so it was a long hold. 40 minutes on the clock, and immediately down the inside, Yves Bottas having a little look, and the green car goes through, and behind there's the almost inevitable coming together, but only one car caught up in it. Yves Bottas in the green and white car made an absolutely storming start and leads from the pole sitter Libre in second. I think that was still Yardley in third. Yes, it was, and everybody else follows through behind Aaron Johnson in fourth position. Keep an eye out for the 91. Riley Dickinson coming through already up to inside the top 20. He started 27th. A good opening stanza for the man who lost pole position, Peter Mackay.
And that was our Masters pole sitter, Scott Lynn, from 12th on the grid. Did such a good job in qualifying, turned around in the first sector. He's dropped all the way to the bottom of the order in the overall and indeed in the Solarius Masters class. Disaster for Scott Lynn, championship leader, as Bottas goes wide and Libre goes through to the overall lead.
At the Hard Rock Party hairpin, they were both off the track there. That was the corner cutting I was talking about. That's all right as they go through the chicane. And that Bollard, the marker cone there, in mortal danger every time these Porsches come through. Riley Dickinson making up another position there as they head onto the back straight for the first time. Race control will be looking at those two in the lead, and there's a car with a deranged rear wing heading down this front straight, the back straight, as well as the top three still as they were. Here comes Johnson, but he had somebody right alongside him, but he drops back into fourth. And once again, Bottas making himself very busy in that green and white car. He's got the inside line in the first corner, but it's Yardley on the outside, and Ryan isn't going to give that one up at all easily. Who had the bent wing? That's what I wanted to know. It was a dark red car. I originally thought it was the Johnson car, and the 84 pulled up at the side of the circuit, but out of the way. There's the answer in the pit lane. That is the number 71, and that is, I think, going to be out of the race, I'm afraid, because we don't typically have pit stops. So Paul Bicuse, I'm afraid, was the car with the deranged rear wing. Libre back to the front, reclaims top spot, having lost it from pole position briefly on that first lap, Peter, and immediately he's beginning to stretch his legs.
It's brilliant racecraft from Jimmy Libre, as well as Bottas and Yardley battling over second, and all while they're doing that, it's allowing Libre to break away. This is really a redemption story for Jimmy Libre. He had an opportunity to score a great result last year and actually crashed in an incident with Gus Burton in the first race last year. This really is redemption for him if he can do that. This is a hugely important race for him, the driver from the Dominican Republic, and what he didn't want to see is the white Carrera 911 Porsche coming out to take control of the field, and I would imagine this is because of Marco Chirone's stricken machine.
Yeah, Marco had got the car out to the side of the circuit, the number 84. Now that is the supplied colour for the Canadian, and it's the GT silver. Everything out else on top of it is vinyl, of course, but the standard colour is GT silver. You wouldn't think it when you saw these cars. Now, let's see if we could work out what happened at the start of this race. There was a bit of moving around, but I think everybody just about kept in their lane. Bottas flung it down the inside, but it was all going on further back. Actually, it looked like Chirone spun on his own in the... Scott Blind spun on his own. And so where did... Chirone down the inside on Scott Blind, spins the 45 car around, and damage, I'm going to say, to the left front steering arm of the Canadian's car. Decent piece of avoiding action by one of the Pro-Am cars there, which I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, your eyes are better than mine, was Kenton King in the ACI Motorsports number 74.
It was certainly very busy. His car is painted in a very similar way to Scott Blind's car. For me, that's huge news, because that is the Pro-Am, the Solarius Pro-Am and the Solarius Masters pole sitters both taken out the race there at the first corner.
On that first lap, both first and second off the track at least a couple of times, and that you're allowed 2 warnings, then it's a 10-second penalty, then it's a drive-through. Now the question will be, did they gain advantage by that? Because that is something else entirely. Scott Blind back in the pit lane, but not where he wanted to be. Oh my goodness. From Ruckus Racing.
This means now that Todd Parriott for Kelly Moss, after that penalty put him to the back of the grid, he's now the last man standing in the Solarius Masters class. So he's just got to get it to the finish now, and he'll pick up the top trophy.
It's a fair point, well made.
Many of the Masters drivers, of course, taking part in the Andile Trophy, which is just for the IMSA sanctioned round, or IMSA circuits, if you like. Yeah. So when we go to Sebring, Road Atlanta, Watkins Glen, etc., those are all for the Andile Trophy, which excludes the Formula One championship rounds.
I have known Marco Chirone for quite a long time. I have handed him trophies at the end of season. He is a doughty competitor. I don't think I've seen him more stony-faced than he is at the side of the track at the moment. He is, I think it would be one of the understatements of the 2025 racing season so far to say he's not best pleased at the moment.
No, I don't think him or Marco Chirone or Scott Blind are very pleased.
No.
Just that there's so much preparation goes into this, and we discussed this on our preview in Midweek Motorsport, that a lot of the drivers, this is the race where they bring a lot of their partners, a lot of their friends, family, and that brings a pressure in itself, but it also brings an expectation too. So that, yeah, neither driver wanting that to happen. They will be desperate to make amends tomorrow.
Now, one other thing that we've got to keep an eye on for Todd Parriott, and indeed for Riley Dickinson, and Dickinson, by the way, up to 14th position. He won't mind a couple of laps of the Porsche safety car, but he'll want to get racing as quickly as he can.
That's true, yes. Every racing lap that's taken away is an opportunity taken away. So yes,
but they have closed the field up, Peter. That's
a good sign. That's a good sign. Yeah, which means, but if he's behind the safety car, he can't pass. Whereas when we're green, of course, he can. So as much as he'd like to see the Porsche Carrera at other times, now probably not. And actually, funny enough, at Patrick Long's air-water Porsche car show last weekend, Porsche announced another very special safety car, which will be part of the IMSA WeatherTech Championship next week for the Laguna Seca round. It's an RS Spider throwback Porsche Cayman GT4 RS.
Oh wow.
Which I thought was very cool, celebrating 20 years of that car's first race at Laguna Seca.
This gives me the opportunity to ask Peter when the definitive history of the RS Spider that you have researched, written and put together, when that book is going to see the light of day.
Well, this year would be a good year to do it, wouldn't it? Yeah, it's all ready to go.
Excellent. Good stuff. The safety car lights are out, so we're going to have somewhere close to 30 minutes if we can get back to green and stay green. ACI pit wall talking to their drivers. Jimmy Liebler then leading. Now you must stop weaving before you get down to turn 17. We'll see the Carrera pull away any second now, with the lights being extinguished pretty early on the lap, but just, in fact, actually, the lights have gone off very early indeed, because that's still halfway around the lap, isn't it?
That's right.
Turn 11.
Just coming to turn 11. That's right, and so that will mean Jimmy Liebler will be looking after the field pretty soon, you would imagine. Very cool to see on the ACI Motorsports pit wall. Gus Burton, former driver in this class, has progressed up to the Porsche Mobil 1 Super Cup. He's there coaching the ACI Motorsports driver. He'll be busy because there's plenty of them. He must have a channel for each of them.
Yeah, he hasn't got enough ears for all these drivers. So we're going to have in the region of 26, 27 minutes maybe to go, maybe a little more than that. So the safety car with lights out is still pacing the field, but effectively, now that it is on the back straight, and it is on the back straight, the Qatar Airways signage on driver's left will become DHL about now. There it is. And the safety car has taken off. So Jimmy Liebler now in that red, white and black ACI Motorsports car has Yves Baltas behind him. Baltas, his ACI Motorsport teammate. Then Ryan Yardley for Top Racing in third position. Aaron Johnson in that dark red number 24 is next up for Kelly Moss Racing, and behind him Tyler Maxon's made a decent start. He started in 7th in the Top Racing car, number 77. The top 6 made up with Michael McCann in the number 8 machine, who's also picked his way through the carnage. And we are back racing, 28.5 minutes to go. Time positive race, so this is not laps, it's time. Side by side for the lead. Now down through these opening corners, all about trying to get the rhythm. Riley Dickinson up on the curb, trying to make up another position. He's knocking on the door of the top 10 already, and he wants the race, I would think, clean from here. Ashley Freiberg's in the top 10 as well in the number 22 Kelly Moss Racing car, Peter.
Yeah, he's making good progress, Ashley Freiberg, in that top 10, and it's so competitive in that top 10. The times are so close. We saw it all the way through qualifying. In fact, we had at one point second, third and fourth separated by 600 across all three of them. So it's very, very tight. And Ryan Yardley having a look on the back of Yves Baltas. They've had a super battle so far as they're coming through them really fast, turn 9 and 10, which are absolutely flat out, down towards the almost beyond 90-degree left-hander here at turn 11, and through goes Baltas. Can he get it stopped though and hold off Yardley as they go? Oh,
I think
like
he's
watching
off
a
the
NASCAR road course race.
I think he's off the track for, that's the second time, 2 warnings, and he might be really playing with fire. That is the exit of a corner, but it becomes a shortcut because it becomes the inside, the apex of the next corner. And he might just be playing with fire there. Can Yardley get the draft? No pass flaps on these cars, but the old-fashioned slipstream does work. And Yardley goes in too deep, can't get it pulled up at the Auto Nation turn 17 and 18. Libre goes through, fastest lap of the race, 1:58.1.
I have to say my teeth were drier than a dodgy tradesman there, John, because that was a big lunge there from Brian Yardley and very, very nearly clipped the back of Jimmy Libre going into turn 17, which is, it's got to be the biggest braking zone on the entire calendar.
Yes, I was trying to think of anywhere else, but I think you are probably right. It is a
turn 10 AB at Atlanta, maybe?
You roll through there a little bit more, and it is downhill there, so that is tricky. I'll give you that. A little bit wide from Johnson there as he heads through in 4th position. Riley Dickinson now in the top 10. That is a very unhappy Canadian driver heading into the pit lane. His day's done. Redemption tomorrow, question mark. Libre then leads by just on a second in the classes. Pro-Am, James Sofronis leading. He's inside the top 10 at 9. And of course we've only got the one Masters running now, and that is Tom Parriott. He's in 23rd position. Riley Dickinson, this could be the drive of his pro career at the moment. Outstanding stuff. His lap record in the race set in 2023, a 1:56.693. Different tyre supplier back then, mind you. Let's see if we can get a bit closer to that. It was another big fling down the inside at turn 1 for the front 3. Bit of respect being shown there. Sometimes you don't get. Dickinson was up on the curb at turn 1, and also there Alan Metney in the silver number 99 as he tried to make up positions as well. That green car was off the track there, wasn't it?
Baltas there at turn 11 into 12. It's certainly right at the edges. Ashley Freiberg had a problem also at turn 11, so it's been a pinch point for sure. That's another big braking zone into there. Because it's just flat out from turn 8 all the way through 9, 10, and then you're turning back on yourself virtually at 11.
She was inside the top 10, and she spoke to Ashley at the start, or just before the start of the season. She was targeting top 5 results this season, and she'll be disappointed with that. May have been she got a little tap on that. We'll see if we can find out. 1:58.0. There is a 57.8 in there if you nail all the best sectors together, but at the moment Jimmy Libre is pulling just slightly away. Half a tenth here. Another problem, I'm afraid, and this again is that car. Well, I didn't expect to see that car back out actually, which is the car that lost its rear wing earlier on. Yeah, Paul McHugh's JDX racing car, but the JDX guys don't know the meaning of the words give up. Certainly not in their lexicon. Harrison Bricks and Jeremy Dale. Zebra Cook in the pit lane as well. It's another one of our female drivers here. So attrition is becoming a part of this 40-minute race. We're just coming down a half distance, 22 and a half to go. Libre now has got more than a second's lead. And where is Riley Dickinson? Still sitting behind James Sofronis in 10th position. Sofronis leading the Pro-Am in 9th. The battle's all at the sharp end of the field at the moment, Peter, with Michael McCann just ahead of the blue and yellow car of Tyler Maxson. That's Matthias Leitz behind him as well. And then Carlos de Quesada, Michael de Quesada, excuse me, in the 11 car, sitting right in behind him.
Home race as well for the de Quesada family too.
Indeed so.
So this is, yeah, huge Michael was so impressive at Sebring. He really was a surprise package for me, and he's looking to put together a proper championship campaign. But also watch out for the rookie championship, led by Aaron Johnson at the moment in 4th. He leads the points. He did have Tyler Maxon right behind him, but they've actually been split up by Michael McCann, who got through into 5th position there. And Johnson, a driver we know well in the IMSA paddock from the Mazda MX-5 Cup, moving up to Porsches. And this, like I said earlier on in qualifying show, this is his first ever F1 event he has ever attended. So what an experience for that young driver.
Yeah, what an experience. Now we've got I told you that bollard was in danger coming through the complex onto the back straight, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And who was it who took it this time? Yep, it's the Nola Sport car of Matheus Leist, the man from Brazil, in the Crescent Power System supported machine, and that red and white plastic bollard. You don't want that anyway. It's pretty lightweight. I was just about to say it. However, the worrying thing is landing on the mounting for it, which several cars have been doing, and that is track limits there, and that will get pulled. Double yellows. We've brought the safety car out. That will be debris on the track, I believe.
I wonder if they want to reapply that cone,
yeah,
because it's
absolutely
not the first time this weekend, and it won't be the last that it's been removed. So I think the race control would rather have it there to try and almost police the track limits a little bit, and of course the danger of having a bollard on the racing line is as well. That can't happen. That wasn't what Jimmy Lieber wanted, because he was getting in such a good rhythm, and every time, of course, that opening corner, the way that this circuit's been designed, it's a really good design of circuit actually. Going into turn 1, that sharp right-hander, every single time we get a restart, that gives Yves Baltas and indeed Ryan Yardley the opportunity to try and snap straight back and actually pick the pocket of Jimmy Lieber in the lead. Yeah,
the bollard has been retrieved by our intrepid marshals in orange, and thank you to all of our volunteers, whether you're trackside on the flag stands or whether you've been helping people park the cars, check the tickets or whatever. It takes a village to run a race event like this. On the hospitality workers as well. Good friend of ours at IMSA Radio and IMSA TV, Danielle Crespo, is at the circuits looking after some very important guests this weekend. And there'll be plenty of people having a good party around the environs in the next few hours, and then back again tomorrow for another helping of top-class motor racing. Bring you the Porsche Carrera Cup North America race live again a little earlier in the day, a lot earlier in the day tomorrow, before all of the Grand Prix action.
This is quite incredible to see Riley Dick, despite having a couple of safety car interventions, Riley Dickinson from 27th on the grid to 9th. So far, and I don't think he's finished yet.
No, neither do I.
Left on the clock.
I think the key pass that he's just made there is on James Sofranis. It was a pass for overall position, didn't affect either of them in their own classes. I suspect that James Sofranis might not have been defending as hard as he really needed to there. Although, I'll take that back, because whilst Riley was behind him, he had a bit of cover behind him from the next Pro-Am car back, which is JP Martinez, who burst onto the scene for ACI Motorsport and was right at the very front of the field and led the championship as we came out of Sebring. So, what do you reckon, Peter? We're going green coming up. Jimmy Lieber has done pretty good work, but we know how late on the brakes that Yves Baltas can be in that green car in second place. The Pro cars with the bright red-orange around their number squares, with the red crosses on their LED lights and the red shade bands as well. Green for the Pro-Am in those same places. So it's down to Jimmy now. Comes into the final corner Stays all the way across to the right. Outside Yokohama's on the red and white curb. He's still holding, coming into the restart zone. Just coming out of turn 18 about now. And he goes straight away, and Bottas has anticipated that, and so has Yardley in third position. This is going to be a real scrap down towards turn 1. And Libra goes defensively to the inside. Can he hold on to it? He can't. He's outbraked himself, and he's handed the lead to Bottas. Almost handed second to Yardley. Well, Yardley's got a bit of hip and shoulder going into the pole sitter there, and through the inside, Aran Johnson in the number 24 car, 3 Porsches wide there, and this is great news for Riley Dickinson because this is holding everybody up ahead of them, and it's also great news for Yves Bottas, who has just driven up the road, and they're still 2 and 3 wide as they're heading up towards the first bit of straight, longish straight that we're going to get as they head down towards turn 11. Peter, what a start.
Oh, but what a disaster for Jamie Libra. That is the last thing he wanted, and Bottas is breaking away at the front of the field as Libra is under attack from all angles. From Michael De Quesada's in there as well, as is Aran Johnson, bringing his Mazda MX-5 Cup experiences. De Quesada up the inside of Libra. Oh, Libra down to 6th position, is that now? And he's under attack from Riley Dickinson now.
Yeah, Dickinson right there in the number 91, and again cars going wide. It was De Quesada who was off on the paint through the first part of the Hard Rock Party hairpin. That's turns 11, 12, 13. Now, there's Dickinson answer right alongside Michael McCann. And it's... this is the last of the late breakers, and it's still 3 wide. He might make 2 for 1 here, and he has made 2 for 1 down the inside. What's that? 6th? 5th? I think that might be 6th. It is 6th for Riley Dickinson as they cross the line. That's incredible from the back of the grid. And also, of course, every time he does another quickest lap, his own quickest lap, then that improves his position on the grid for tomorrow, because all of his times were scratched. The car was not inside the technical regulations after qualifying. Should have started on pole position. We're seeing the best of Riley Dickinson here, fighting his way through the field.
But he made a mistake there going into turn 2-3, and that allowed Tyler Maxson to get back. So Tyler Maxson has gone back up into 6th position there. It's a great move from Tyler Maxson. A little mistake from Dickinson, and he took the opportunity as Libra's fighting back, and oh dear, fighting back a little bit too hard into the rear quarter panel of Ryan Yardley, who's spun around, and that is at turn, that's at turn 8.
Yeah.
Oh, and he's gone falling right down the order.
But he is going to get the car going, so we'll stay green. Yves Bottas is not in the picture at the moment. He's 2 seconds up the road, and it's Libra defending for all he can from Johnson in the darker red brown coloured car. Off the track again from Libra. Oh my goodness, these must be stacking up. We'll have to wait to see if there are any warnings coming through from race control. Dickinson still scored as 6th and ahead of Maxson again there. So let's see if I can confirm that. Well, it was the nose, but then I think it was actually the rear wing that did the... Oh, no, it wasn't. No, I'll take that back. Sorry, Jimmy, but that is a bit too boisterous. It was all going on, wasn't it, on that restart, as Jimmy went wide and let not 1 but 2 cars go through turns 1 and 2. And Ryan Yardley, well, maybe there was a bit of animus between those two, Peter, because Yardley had come from just off the curb there to take that 2nd place on the restart. And I said it was a bit of hip and shoulder. Maybe that slightly upset the man in 2nd place now.
And there's context here from last year. Remember, Jamie Libra got effectively muscled into the wall in a side-to-side fight with Gus Burton, and that took a podium chance away. That is still going to be sitting underneath there at this Miami race, and I think that was what drove that extra bit of aggression. How race control will call it, I would not want their job for all the money in the world. No. It's such a tough job, particularly in a race like this where it's so frantic. Meanwhile, Baltas, the last thing he wants to see is that white Carrera 992 again. Safety car, definitely not now, because he's got a big gap. He's got a 3.2 second gap all of a sudden.
So there's a little bit of a battle pack building up between the red, white and black number 11, which is the De Quesada car. That is a podium spot that is being battled over by De Quesada, Aaron Johnson, Tyler Maxson, Riley Dickinson, Michael McCann, and his late's just on the back of that as well. So I don't know why I'm straining the look. I can't actually change my view, but I was trying to look over the top of the cars there. Yeah, I thought he was. And then there's a bit of a gap back to James Sofranis, who leads the Pro-Am category, from Angel Benitez, who's a couple of seconds further back. But basically, third down to ninth are all nose to tail. JP Martinez, that was in the pit lane, the man who came into this weekend leading his class, Peter.
He did. He was leading the Solarius Pro-Am class, and well, that's going to give an opportunity for Alan Metney to get some points back. He's third in class at the moment, so that will tighten the championship up for sure. Tell you what, the rookies, you got to take your hat off to them. Aaron Johnson and Tyler Maxson, they are, particularly Tyler Maxson, he's been passed on a couple of occasions by Dickinson, and he's given it straight back. You know, this is a former champion in this class. He's on the charge. He's got his head down, and Maxson saying, no, I'm not moving over. I'm going to fight you hard, and I'm going to pass you. And this is fantastic to see from the rookies, both Johnson and Maxson battling for that Rookies Championship, but also for overall points as well.
Into the last 9.5 minutes. Baltas now by almost 3 seconds. He can just cruise here. He can move himself away from the field, but he doesn't have to worry too much about what's going on behind him. They're having their own battles at the moment. Down the inside, Maxson has a look on Riley Dickinson and goes back through. So Dickinson slips a spot back again. Still in 6th. He's been hanging around that 6th spot for a little while then. Michael McCann is in behind him. And right on the back of that is the 8th placed car. It's the 9th placed car of the leader in Pro-Am. Baltas then. Oh, hang on. Jimmy Labor is flashing his lights. Jimmy Labor is flashing his lights. That obviously means that Yves Baltas is going to pull over and let him catch him. No, it's not. Why do drivers do that? How many times do we see that, Peter? And how many times have you or I asked drivers, so does somebody flashing the lights behind you? Does that disturb you at all? Nah, not at all. But do you do it when you're behind someone? Oh, yeah, all the time.
Yeah, they all do it. Maxson is, well, he's not flashing his lights, but he is all over the rear engine cover of Aaron Johnson right now. These two young stars, Maxson really getting to grips. He didn't have the best qualifying, not as good as he did at Sebring anyway, so he qualified 7th, but whoa, boy oh boy, in this race Tyler Maxson is driving the wheels off that top racing machine. But to try and get a move done on Aaron Johnson is not easy, and the thing for Maxson is right behind them, the white and green Kelly Moss racing car of Riley Dickinson. If Maxson leaves himself exposed, he could then be trying to gain a position and actually lose one at the same time.
That is always the danger in one of these lines of cars all battling for class and overall position. You have to somehow, compromise. Debris flag out on the circuit again as they're heading to turn 11. I suspect that's still from the detritus after the demise. Oh no, that's a bit earlier on, isn't it? That's at the Hard Rock hairpin as Johnson goes off the track this time to try and go around. And we've had a couple of cars spun around there, including Ashley Freiberg. Oh my goodness me.
What a move. That's a move from Tyler Maxson.
Great move from Maxson.
Set it up into turn 11. Little mistake from Johnson, to be fair, and Maxson said thank you very much. He's got his head down now. He can smell a podium here, his first in Porsche Carrera Cup North America. It's just his second race meeting. If he can get past Michael de Quesada, and that is no easy feat. He wants to stand on the podium at home at the Miami Grand Prix. Here comes Dickinson now up the inside of Johnson at turn 17.
And that is a position made up for Dickinson. That's now 5th. This is every single position he makes is an extra point or 2. It is the leader of the championship who started 27th out of 28 cars. Now, he has been helped by 2 short safety car periods, but there's no doubt in my mind, Peter, that he has a car that has been set up here to pass people, and he's done absolutely. Now, what we don't know is whether he's burned a set of tyres and he's only got used tyres left for tomorrow. But what he'll be hoping is that his lap time here will be good enough to get him inside the top 10 or maybe better, and give himself a fighting chance for tomorrow. All of his times were scratched after qualifying, after the car was excluded.
Well, at the moment his best lap time is a 1:59 flat, which would put him quite a long way down the order, actually.
Well, that was his last lap.
That was his last lap. That was his last lap, excuse me, I do apologise, yes. So, yeah, I would think he would be a little bit more pace than that, that's true. Oh, his spin for number 17 car, Andre Reina Fernandez, that's early on in the lap. Just rear got away from him. Right in front of Ryan Yardley, running down at the moment.
That was 16th
place.
Yeah, 16th and 17th position. And does well not to hit the wall. Remember to reverse the lock. Down towards the last 5 minutes here, Peter. And the question on everybody's lips is, can Riley Dickinson get on the pole position, get on the podium here? He's got a couple of seconds to make up to the Tyler Maxson car that is now in 3rd spot. So it's Baltas, de Quesada, Maxson, Dickinson, Libra, Johnson, Michael McCann, Matthias Leitz, James Sofranas leads Pro-Am. Angel Benitez in 2nd has dropped away a little bit there, so Sofranas nailed on now for the Pro-Am victory.
Look at Riley Dickinson's just set his personal best last time by a 1:58.3, and that will put him at the moment sort of back end of the top 10 for tomorrow's race, starting on the grid. So
I think if he gets inside the top 8, maybe, I think he'd be happy with top 10. I think he'd be very happy on the first 3 rows of the grid. But on the performance we've seen here, Peter, he could start 15th and win the race, couldn't he?
We've lost Jimmy Libre. Jimmy Libre is...
He's dropping.
He's dropping big time. So that puts de Quesada up to 2nd, Maxson up onto the podium, and he's got Dickinson on his gearbox. So if he can hold off the former champion, Tyler Maxson, as a rookie, could be climbing the podium here at the Miami Grand Prix with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go, but has to hold off Dickinson. But what's happened to Libre?
Well, that was the lap before, because when I did the rundown, Maxson was already in 3rd position. So that was the lap before. So that's an odd one. Where did Jimmy Libre make the mistake? I'm just making sure that is actually the running order, and he hasn't had a penalty for track limits that's been applied. No, that is the way they stand on track at the moment. So where's Jimmy's car? He should be sitting. Well, he scored ahead of Aaron Johnson, but he's certainly not ahead of Aaron Johnson.
No,
I think he's dropped behind Michael McCann and Matthias Leitz, hasn't he? And James Sofranas. The car's not in that line at all.
No, he's dropping down the order. I think he
may have
at
stopped.
The moment he's stopped, yes, by the looks of things. He's dropping down the order right now. So something has happened to Jimmy Libre. Oh dear. This had so much promise. He had the really strong pace. Just the race has really conspired against him. Poor old Jimmy Libre. He'll be back tomorrow though. He had 2 good qualifying times, so he'll be back to fight.
Well, what a race of incident, accident, controversy, attrition. About the only thing we haven't had is a plague of frogs at the moment. Not
we had weather for them earlier.
Well, we did. That is very true. Not typical in these area. Bottas, by the way, now 7 seconds up the road. We just don't see this in Porsche Carrera Cup North America. De Quesada holding on to second by about a second from Maxon, and then Dickinson, and then another second back. Johnson, who's got his mirrors full at the moment of Michael McCann with the Stars and Stripes almost livery. No, it is on the top of the car, but red, white and black down the side. It'll be white flag, I reckon, this time around. So there will be one more tour of the 3.363 miles. Dickinson right in the wheel tracks of Maxon. Throws the dummy down the inside. Maxon doesn't buy it. But here comes McCann. Oh, and a little bit late on the brakes by Aaron Johnson in the number 24. There's the white flag. IMSA starter, Tony, as ever, with style and gusto. Coming through at the final corner.
So Jimmy Lieber down to 12th. He came into the pits.
Yes.
Now, was this a drive-through?
I think it's a drive-through.
Contact. It's the contact that they had with Ryan Yardley.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. That must be. And the problem is, of course, such a short race, you've got no time to make it back, have you? Even if you have got a quick car.
But
so
Ryan Yardley's race ruined out in that incident.
Well,
so,
yeah, Ryan's dropped down to, well, way outside
15th.
the top 10. Yeah, exactly, yes. Yeah.
This is amazing. I mean, for the podium, second and third and fourth fighting away. De Quesada in second, Maxon right behind him in third, but Dickinson looking really, really racy in fourth. Bearing in mind, from 27th on the grid, qualified, was our provisional race brew pole sitter, and got sent to the back for a technical infraction. Imagine if he could get on the podium here, but so much on the line.
There's a second place here for Riley with a big throw down the inside at the final corner, or the final braking area at least. So through 11, 12, 13, underneath the bridge. Defensive driving for the second place car, the red and Stars and Stripes number 11. Michael De Quesada with his family comes from down the road in Miami. They'll be biting their nails at the moment. This is the run to the final big braking area. I don't think Dickinson's close enough. He might be just waiting to pick the pieces up here as Maxon goes down the inside, but that looks clean to me. Now, watch the old over and under from Dickinson. He changed his mind there. There was, I think, a podium on. Through goes Bottas to win it. Maxon comes through in second. That's a great race from Tyler Maxon. De Quesada holds on to third. Fourth for Riley Dickinson. You know, he might be disappointed with that. There might have been a podium on. But how can you be disappointed, Peter, when you've come from 27th to 4th and you've bagged all those, you've banked all those points? Also coming through, our leader in the Pro-Am class, James Sofranas, well ensconced inside the top 10 at 8th, ahead of Angel Benitez. And the third place in that, just waiting for that car to come through. It should be Kenton King for ACI Motorsports, has gone through now in the number 74. And the last man standing, as you rightly said, gets the Masters class. How clean was that down into the final big braking area for second place from Maxon? Got a little bit of a lub tap going through. Looked like Dickinson was going to sweep round the outside, and then I think he changed his mind there.
Well, that's the sort of drive for me that wins championships.
Yes.
For Riley Dickinson. That could have got into a spiral and could have got away from him. But he remained cool under pressure. 27th up to 4th. That's a result in my book. But what about Yves Bottas? Just once he got free, once he got the move done, he was gone. He was absolutely gone. Then you look at Tyler Maxon, a rookie in this class, 7th on the grid, up to 2nd. What more can you say about that young man? And Michael De Quesada, all of a sudden, he's going to be right in the thick end for the fight of the championship. He came into this round 3rd, Ryan Yardley was 12 points ahead. Well, that's gone, so he's up there at the sharp end. How many storylines do you want? And it's just the first race of the weekend. And
it's closed the championship battle in Pro up, as you rightly say. Yves Baltas dicing with track limits. I'm sure that car off the track a couple of 3 times that we saw, we didn't see the race control messages giving him any kind of warning, just making sure that his ride height and weight is going to be all right, picking up a little bit of the marbles, the discarded rubber from the Yokohama tyres. Yes, and also a storyline, but not of a positive nature, for the man who started on pole position with Jimmy Libra, a man from the Dominican Republic, in ACI Motorsport, battling for the lead. 2 safety cars in that, which closed the field up a little bit, which makes it even more remarkable actually that it was a 6+ second lead. Yves Baltas was easing off towards the end, but Jimmy Libra, he must be kicking himself. Restarted, went long, and that was the start of his problems. Bit of a bump and barging match with Ryan Yardley, and then when he went after it for seconds, turned Yardley around and got the drive-through penalty. But Yves Baltas for ACI Motorsports takes the victory in the lime green machine.
What a performance.
I think that's stunning.
Fully deserved the winner
Maxon,
of the ExxonMobil Pro class.
Oh, you mentioned Tyler Maxon as a rookie in this class, but he's got plenty of racing experience, and he used it all there. He's come up through other single manufacturer formula where close racing is de rigueur, and he proved there that he wasn't frightened to get up close and personal with former champions and, you know, front runners from several years' experience in this championship.
Everyone, nobody was safe against Tyler Maxon in that race. And you know, when I looked at his qualifying run, 7th is by no means a disaster at all, but it was just a little bit off what we saw at Sebring. I thought, okay, he's never raced here before, and well, what a change. I mean, in this first race, and he'll go into tomorrow brimming with confidence. He'll be on cloud 9. Think of all the partners who'll be here, friends and family, all wanting to take up the Miami Grand Prix experience, and to do that in this arena, what a day for that young man.
So the cars heading back to the pit and paddock area. Unofficially then, Yves Baltas from Tyler Maxon from Michael De Quesada. That's your pro podium. ExxonMobil pro podium. Riley Dickinson driving from 27th to 4th ahead of Aaron Johnson, Michael McCann and Matthias Lee, .7, all in that ExxonMobil pro category. Then James Sofranes wins the pro am category ahead of Angel Benitez, with Jimmy Libra, even after the drive-through, coming through in 10th position, which is still 5 or 6 places ahead of the man that he nerfed off, which I suspect might be slightly irking. Kenton King in 11th. Ashley Freiberg, who was in the top 10 at 9 for a while, recovered to 12th after being spun around. Yardley in 13th. Then Juan Pablo Vega. Alan Bettany getting some points and closing the gap on the leader in the Pro-Am category. Javier Riol, Patrick Mulcahy, Wes Lump, and then 2 retirements off the back of it. Peter Mackay was alongside me, and John Hindhaugh in the Global Broadcast Centre. Join us tomorrow as we'll do it all again much earlier in the day. Thanks to our technical team at the Hard Rock Stadium for putting us out. Thomas and the rest of the audio crew, pleasure to work with them. Also our camera operators from Formula One, and of course NASCAR Productions up in Concord. Tim Gray was our executive producer in London for IMSA Radio. I'm John Hindhaugh. Have a great Saturday evening. Hey, look, you're near Miami. Get yourself down to A1A Beachfront Avenue. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't have too bad a hangover. Bye-bye.